But who would have ever thunk that we would have been in a position like this where someone could take a photograph from the web or a photograph from anywhere, frankly, and turn it into an animated video that looks real. We've seen some of this with some of the political figures recently during the election process where we saw that happening. But now imagine the disgusting nature of doing that with sexual content and involving children. Well, hey, folks, I want to discuss a troubling new case involving a former middle school teacher who misused artificial intelligence to exploit students. So let's look into the shocking details of this crime and what we can do as parents or guardians to protect our children from similar dangers in the digital age. Plus, I want to talk about whether the school should have reported this much sooner than they did. Hey, welcome to Profiling Evil, and please take a moment to hit that like and subscribe button and make sure that you're ringing the bell so that you don't miss any of our future videos. And please give us a thumbs up and help us keep bringing quality content to you. Hopefully something that's compelling and a little bit educational along the way. And I'd really appreciate it if you'd share Profiling Evil with your friends and contacts who love true crime as much as you do. Now let's get started. The recent arrest of Wilson Frederick Jones, a former middle school teacher in Corinth, Mississippi, for creating AI-generated child pornography involving his students, has brought an alarming new threat into focus: the use of artificial intelligence by predators to exploit children. Now, this case highlights the urgency for parents and for communities to proactively protect our children from such evolving threats. When this guy exploited his victims, he did so by collecting publicly accessible images of the students from social media platforms and other places, and then he used advanced artificial intelligence software to digitally manipulate and combine these innocent photos into explicit, realistic videos, all without the knowledge of the children or their families. Now, this disturbing method allowed him to create harmful content covertly, highlighting the urgent need for greater awareness and privacy protection on social media channels. It is crucial to emphasize that neither the children nor their families had any involvement whatsoever in this crime. They had no knowledge that this thing was even happening, that their innocent social media photos were being harvested, manipulated, and abused in such a harmful and deeply troubling manner. Now, while the families were entirely unaware and could have done little to prevent this particular misuse of technology, there are some proactive things that we can do as parents and guardians to reduce the risk of other kinds of things like this happening against our children. So by understanding and addressing these additional vulnerabilities, parents can better protect their children from predators and help ensure that their safety is online and offline. It's a natural evolution. As predators find new ways to leverage technology, it's become increasingly essential for parents and guardians to be vigilant and informed about safeguarding children. So here are a couple of practical steps to help us somehow reduce the risk on our children. First is to educate children about the online risks, and they may know more about it than you do, but regularly discuss the dangers that are presented online, emphasizing the importance of reporting uncomfortable or suspicious circumstances or interactions with people. And again, the kids probably know more about this than you do, but make sure you're engaged in the conversation with them and reminding them of these kinds of tips. Number two, utilize parental control software, tools that will monitor and restrict online activity. And it might frustrate your child, but it may help you as a parent to oversee your child's digital interactions. Number 3, set clear online boundaries. Define specific rules about permissible websites they can visit, how the content and interactions online should occur to foster a safe practice and interaction with other people. Number 4, maintain open communication with your child. Create a trusting environment where your children can freely share any concerns that they might have about online experiences without any fear of punishment. Now, number 5 is kind of a challenge. Stay current with technological trends. As you gain more understanding about emerging technologies and their potential misuse, you're in a better position to proactively address these new threats as they come out. Number 6, monitor social media usage. Regularly review what your child's doing in their social media presence and look for inappropriate interactions or any signs of grooming that are going on, especially with people that clearly are not their peers, and preferably peers that you happen to know. Now, the next one is teach critical thinking regarding AI. And again, they may be more advanced in this than you are, but help your children recognize manipulated images or videos that are out there and encourage skepticism in their minds about any unexpected digital content that they might come across, especially if it's a predator trying to pose as a peer. Make sure you're collaborating with the school and the community. Engage with your educational institution to ensure that there's digital safety education, and what's happening in the school is being complemented at home. Protecting children from online predators demands continuous vigilance, education, and open dialogue. And that's the tough part at times with our kids. But we have to be proactive in learning about these new threats to effectively shield our children from these communities that would harm them. This case of Wilson Frederick Jones is really interesting. This guy has been charged under federal statutes regarding the production and possession of morphed child pornography images. Now, the local police department rightly determined that it would be better to have the feds cover this one and get this thing into the process pretty quickly. Specifically, he's going to be facing charges under the U.S. Code, which prohibits the production, possession, or distribution of child pornography, including images, videos generated or artificially altered, and anything that depicts minors in explicit scenarios, which is exactly what's happened in this case by all reports that are out there. Given the severity and the nature of these charges, Jones is likely going to undergo a rigorous prosecution process in which he will be forced to reveal information through detailed forensic examinations of all of his electronic devices, not just those that were taken in the school setting. Remember, the school locked his computer and took it into custody immediately upon firing him, but his other digital devices are going to be examined very carefully. The good news that the federal court system typically handles these cases very aggressively because of the serious implication of child safety issues. So if convicted, Jones faces significant penalties, potentially including a lengthy prison sentence, mandatory registration as a sex offender, strict supervision upon release, and he might have some additional restrictions on his future use of technology. And this case, more than likely, could also be part of the important legal precedents that are going to be set regarding artificial intelligence in crimes against children. But here's one more concern that I wanted to just cover with you. Perhaps more of a question I'm kind of working through in my own mind. Because to me, it's deeply disturbing and it's really concerning that the school district waited nearly 4 months before reporting Jones and reporting his alarming activities to law enforcement. even though this guy already resigned and reportedly, by things that I've read, admitted to his actions to school investigators. Such a significant delay raises troubling questions about transparency, accountability, and the priorities of those who are entrusted with protecting our children. Now, we all recognize that this hesitation may have stemmed from some internal damage control, trying to manage or minimize the fallout from this thing, some way of trying to avoid the negative publicity, or uncertainty about how to handle such an unprecedented circumstance involving this artificial intelligence angle. However, this delay, in my opinion, has serious implications. I think it undermines public trust. It jeopardizes student safety, and it potentially compromises crucial evidence in this particular case. How was that evidence stored over those 4 months before law enforcement got word of this case and got the search warrant? Parents and the broader community are rightly troubled by this lack of prompt action, in my opinion, as it might have inadvertently shielded the perpetrator, prolonged the trauma of the victims, and really frustrated all of us. Transparent and swift reporting is not just ethical, it's necessary and critical in safeguarding children and upholding public confidence in these educational institutions. I'm going to be talking later today with Jesse Weber on law and crime, and I hope you'll catch that interview to get the entire scoop on this particular case. And then, so you're hitting on the thing that really troubles me as someone who spent a career looking at criminal behavior. And we have those traditional forms of evidence that you and I talk about on your show all the time. But this idea that behavioral evidence really teaches us and kind of nets it and brings it all together. I have to start thinking immediately about what's the motivation behind it. Is this a predatory fantasy that is starting to evolve and pretty soon not be enough, and so it has to be acted out in reality with children? And so I want to know more about what is he got in his other digital library. What kinds of things is he focusing on? Because it's really that fantasy where the crime begins, isn't it? And it takes us to that juncture that we talk about so often about the difference between deviant behavior, those goofy thoughts that people have and allegedly in this situation have, and the step over the bridge into criminal behavior. And then I hope you'll also just pause long enough to enter your comments down below. Please take time to weigh in on each other's comments, and let's make this a constructive exploration of this most challenging problem. Hey, thanks for tuning in to Profiling Evil. I really appreciate your support, and I love having you along for this journey. Don't forget to connect with us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter. And that way you can get more updates, more insights. And if you like audio podcasts, we've got you covered. Go over to Profiling Evil's audio podcasts on your favorite podcast platform. That way, you're going to get episodes while you're on the go. And if you'd like even more content, go over to our website at profilingevil.com, where you can get our informative story maps, our missing persons and unsolved homicides crowdsource map. That's a pretty cool thing because it's a place where you can enter missing persons and unsolved murder cases from your own community. It's kind of a fascinating new social experiment, and we'd really love you to be a part of that. And while you're on our website, please sign up for our digital newsletter, the BOLO, which stands for Be on the Lookout. And the only way you're going to get the BOLO is if you have digitally signed up through profilingevil.com. This thing is packed with information, and again, the only way you'll get it is by going to profilingevil.com and signing up. And I promise I'll never give your contact information away to anybody. And finally, if you're a fan of true crime books, check out my books on the website. You can get personalized copies of Deceived, an investigative memoir of the Zion Society cult, or She Knew No Fear, the story of my great-great-grandmother's murder in 1891, and how I solved that thing 130 years later. Hey, thanks for your incredible support of Profiling Evil. We'll see you soon at the next crime scene.